All right. Well, welcome. Hello. I am Vicki McGrath, founder of Vicki McGrath Spiritual Arts. I am a psychic medium and soul exchange walk-in who had a spontaneous spiritual awakening in December 2020 and learned I could channel multidimensional beings. Now I am a certified mediumship teacher and certified life purpose medium, and I teach mediumship to others who have a calling to channel ancestors and spirit guides. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Spiritual Women Entrepreneurs Empowerment Together. Sweet. Thank you for being my guest. Angel, I really appreciate you taking the time to share your talents and story with me and my audience. My goal with the channel is to highlight and promote the value of women spiritual entrepreneurs in the ascension of humanity, the planet, and the economy. It is a platform for the woo, the amazing, incredible experiences we have with other dimensions, and to empower other women to see themselves and their gifts as a way to their own sovereignty. I hope you'll find value in promoting the channel to your audience and promoting yourself as an authority and influencer. Welcome, Angel. I met Angel a few years ago at an event. She gave me a mini reading for my daughter. It was a future reading, so I'm still waiting for it to unfold. And just this past fall, I had Angel read my dog Archie at a local metaphysical store, the Hedge Witch. So welcome, Angel, and why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, hello, and thank you so much for having me on. I really, really appreciate it. I'm Angel Morgan, and I am clairvoyant. I'm an energetic expert, and what that means is that I work many different fields. I work with feng shui, and I work with color therapy. Anything energetic is my forte. So I also work with animal communications, as you know, and I have been doing this for, as of July 2023, 24 years, probably the longest I've ever stuck with anything. So
well, that's impressive. So I guess that leads really well into my next question. So tell us your origin story. Have you always had spiritual gifts, or did they appear at some point in your life?
Yeah, when I was little, I had experiences. Some of them were quite profound, and it was a really cool experience when you would wait. I woke up once and I remember seeing my great aunt by a tree, and she was wearing what we call a death gown. I'm Maltese, so there's a very specific thing in her generation that they would wear. And when I woke up, my mother was coming up the stairs, and she'd actually been raised by this woman. And she said, "Well, your Auntie Mary died." And I said, "Well, I know. And she said, "Well, wait, how do you know?" And I said, "Because I just saw her." And she just looked at me. She went, "You didn't see anything. You don't know anything." Like,
interesting.
"Oh, okay." So as I had these experiences, as I was getting older, I didn't have a lot of people to turn to, but there were some people who were very accepting in my family. So that kind of quietly encouraged it, and then as we became adults, we became more vocal. Like what my cousin, who's an angel seer, is actually now a spiritual therapist, a spiritual psychotherapist. My sister has dream time. My son is a dream walker. My fiance is a dream walker. So as I got older, I allowed the experiences kind of to take over. And it was the Hedge Witch that was one of the first places that actually embraced and accepted me and helped me to understand who and what I was. And thank God for them. They're like my second family. So I spent 9.5 years training with them. And I also had some amazing experiences in Guatemala, where a medicine man told me I was going to be speaking with animals. And I thought he was crazy. I thought he was on crack because I was a non-believer. And when I came home, very shortly afterwards, I was shown how real animal communications was. And that was the beginning of everything, really. And here I am 24 years later. I've written my first book. I've got my own television show. I'm on the plate for some other things this year, which are going to be really, really exciting. I have my first show in Toronto coming up in April. It's been exciting. I'm on an investigations team, which I never thought I would be. So it's a good life. It's a really, really good life. So that's where I've started.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. And I love to hear everybody's origin story, because everybody's story is unique, and yet, what's amazing is that we all have these gifts that are now lighting the way for others, right? And that's the part that I love, is just,
And it's a calling.
yeah.
I think that each of us, even though we have our individual stories as to how we get here, we all have that same tone of, we were called to it. We were drawn to it. It isn't something we necessarily chose to do. We didn't wake up one morning and go, hey, I'm going to be psychic. Hey, I'm going to be clairvoyant. I'm going to talk to animals. Although I'm sure everybody wants to when they're little. So my reality is I do agree they're very, very unique, but I think the thing that threads us all together is our need to help and to heal, but also that we're called to it.
Agreed. So the next question, of course, is how have your spiritual gifts helped you in your business? But of course, you use your gifts directly as your business. So tell us, tell us some of the ways that you are in business as a spiritual woman entrepreneur.
Well, I see myself as an entrepreneur rather than a spiritual entrepreneur, because I've actually run many businesses before this. This is just another evolution and incarnation of Angel. And the topic, though, is the one I'm the most passionate about. And I think I never turned it or wanted to turn it into a business. I just kind of do my work, and then the money follows. The clients find me. And again, it's that whole thing of, when you're on the right path, and this is really important for people to understand, especially if you are starting out, when you're on this path, dedicate yourself to the work. Don't worry about it becoming a business, because it will evolve into that. You will learn as you go. And that's not to say you shouldn't take business classes and you shouldn't understand how to run a business, because I did that too. But the reality is with anything, whether it's spirituality or, you're a journalist or whatever it is that you are, really throw yourself into the work, because the more passionate you are, the more aligned with what you do, and people are going to come out of the woodwork and find you. Right. So that's a really big thing. So how have I used my abilities to work with my business? Just that I listen and I act on that listening. That's one of the things I teach, is dismiss nothing. So I believe that I can't preach what I don't practice. So when I hear those little nigglings, I'm always acting on those nigglings, as long as I'm not hurting myself or others. And I'm lucky too. I have that support system around me. And I think that's a really big thing as well in business, whether it's spiritual or anything else, is that you have the right people surrounding you. And I've always been so lucky. Like, it's incredible. I've always fallen into the right place at the right time. And again, that's, using that intuition, that instinct. Like, I remember being asked to go to a ceremony because these medicine men from Peru were here. And I thought, well, I have nothing to do. It feels okay. Let's go have some fun, right? For me, I'm a Gemini. It's all about fun. And if it's not fun, then don't do it. And so I went, and there were 30 people there. And out of those 30 people, they honed in on me and said, listen, you have to come with us. We have to teach you. Right. And it was because I listened to my friend, because my friend said, hey, come with me, that a whole new culture opened up for me. And that's my pride and joy, I think, with what I do, is I pride myself in the fact that I love different cultures. I study different cultures. I work with different cultures to see how they do their readings and how they do their healing work. And, I ask to incorporate some of that work into my own. And I've always been very, very lucky in that they've allowed me to do that.
And so did you do a plant medicine journey while you were there in Peru? And
No,
you
you
did
know
not.
what?
Okay.
I didn't. I needed to get away, and my son's dad and I decided we needed separate vacations. And so I ended up in Guatemala, and I ended up doing some work with that medicine man there. And then some Peruvian medicine men, different ones, had come here. So I've always had that connection. In fact, the only medicine I've ever done is African, and that's the culture that I'm working with now. And that medicine was profound. And that was Iboga.
Oh,
And I
interesting.
really enjoyed that. It was a 3-night journey, and I was able to do it a few times. And in fact, we actually had a medicine man in our home, and one of our cats, you and I were talking about that before. one of our cats, because we have four, she's so skinny that the railing couldn't keep her upstairs with everybody else. So she gets, so I'm like, okay, whatever. And she ended up working with the medicine man. When he slept, she would walk around and she would work and she would sit on us and she would heal. And it was incredible because it was those places that were uncomfortable that she would just come and sit on. And then when she slept, he walked around and kept space. And it actually really helped me understand my relationship with her too.
Very, very cool. And so how can the audience learn about you and the work you do? You mentioned that you're on TV, and you mentioned, you mentioned the paranormal investigation. I'd like to ask about that too. So maybe tell us a bit about both, because I know the paranormal investigation is a volunteer basis, but tell us about the TV. I'm assuming that that's work.
It's all work. It's all work, because even with the investigative stuff, what will happen is I'll go in with the team and I'll work with them. And then a lot of times people will go, okay, well, you know what, can we continue the work? And that's paid, right? So for me, I don't care if I get paid for something or not, because eventually it's going to lead to something else. You know, when I worked with News Talk 1010 as a regular guest with them, it was a monthly spot, but I did that whole hour. I didn't get paid by the network, but they couldn't pay me what I did get paid from the people that called in, or from the people who listened to me nationwide, right? So sometimes as entrepreneurs, we've got to think a little bit differently and outside the box.
Right.
And the reality is even if we volunteer our services, especially working in the spiritual industry, we really are giving back. Right. So that's our give back. But in return, what we get is absolutely phenomenal. And again, I never really think about stuff like that. I think to myself, okay, this is the work I'm called to do. This is something I'm supposed to be on. And when I go there, then things open up. Like one of the last ones we did, it was crazy. I went there and I wasn't going to. All day I had resisted it. And I thought, no, I'm supposed to be there for whatever reason. I'm going to go. And it turned out that one of the two people that we were working with was a casting director with a company that I used to audition with when I was an actor, because I was actually in theater for 25 years. And what was really, really cool was that she and I kind of knew each other already. And that led to a whole nother relationship, which is going to help my career in the future. So it's amazing how in helping her and her friend, all of a sudden another door opened. And that was something I was trying to manifest as well. Is I love media, right? So one of the things you were asking was how can people find me and work with me? You know, I do have my show, and you can get tickets for my show, which are free for our taping. We do that monthly. And you can also do classes with me, and you can go online to raisingenergy.com and check out all my stuff. And also I have a blog, mypsychiclifestyle.com, which talks about tips and techniques, not only for you opening up and developing, but I actually have a category specifically for business and using your intuition in business. And what I love about that category is, again, it doesn't just focus on spiritual entrepreneurship. It also focuses on you as a person in whatever job you do, because I find a lot of people who work in this industry also, again, I'm very fortunate, I get to do this 24/7, also have other jobs as well, right? So how do you integrate them, and how do you work with that, and how do you move one so that it's stronger than the other, and you can fully work on this path every day. So I have stuff like that as well.
Yeah, good. I didn't know about your blog, so I'll definitely include that in the show notes.
Oh yeah, I love it. And now I'm a columnist too for Opal Rising magazine. And I'm the Dear Abby of animals. So I get to talk about animals, and I get to help people through this magazine as well. So again, the more I dedicate myself to my work, the opportunities just arise. And again, it's not that I don't do the work. I do meet life halfway. You know, I had this inspiration of going into LinkedIn, and it's just inviting people to do a 15-minute read, or letting them know that this is what I'd like to do. And from that, I just kind of give it and surrender it. I do the work, I put it out there, I do the practical, and then I allow spirit to do whatever it needs to do to bring me what I need. And I have faith that that's what's going to happen. I've always had faith that if I take one step, the universe will take 3 forward.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So, Angel, what is your big dream for the future?
Oh, I have lots of big dreams for the future, but I have to tell you, someone once told me that when I turned 50, I would achieve all my goals. I am now 50 this year, and I have achieved pretty much all my goals. And I'm really excited about that. So I'm in the process right now of re-goal setting, and I do
Mm,
have some exciting things coming up this year. Like travel is one of them. And I know that's one of the things that you wanted to talk about. This year, I have a television show that's asked me to go back to my roots, which is Malta, and I will be doing an episode with them, and intuitively psychic work. So I'll be doing that. There's also another opportunity to be traveling around Canada. So I think that's probably my biggest goal this year, is to balance my life and work, but really have that side open up.
no,
Yeah.
excellent. Yeah, that's great. I
And I
love to
know
hear it.
one of the things that you were asking too was, where's my dream vacation?
Yes. What is your dream vacation destination? I thought this is just for fun,
I'm
but I
going
love to
on
hear
it
it.
in June.
Oh, what are you
I'm
doing?
going on it in June. I'm so excited. New Orleans, here I come. Here I come.
Oh,
So I am
interesting.
going. Yeah, I've always wanted to go to New Orleans.
Mm,
New Orleans for me is a big thing, just simply because, again, I walk many different paths. I learn many different paths, and the Haitian and voodoo culture, the African
mm-hmm.
culture are part of who I am. So this has been calling to me for a couple of years now. And finally, I'm ready to go and meet those energies that have been calling me home. So
Yeah,
I'm excited
interesting.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever been?
I have not, but I recently was doing some research on, like vortexes, really, and New Orleans definitely has one, so
Oh, yeah, it's huge.
it's definitely somewhere I'd like to go. I'm interested in the voodoo as well, but also uh, and you probably, since you've been working a little bit with the African side of things, is hoodoo, which is not is something that I didn't know about until I did a
Yeah,
reading with
so
somebody
voodoo is
else.
the actual religion,
I
whereas
see.
hoodoo is the root work. That's
Gotcha.
actually where I really excel, is what they call the low magics. And so hoodoo or root work is when you see the poppets being made, or the mojo bags, or using the herbs and the
I
oils, that
see.
kind of stuff. And
Right.
in order to do one, you don't have to be part of the other, but it is extremely obviously helpful and cultural to be. And it's an exciting path that a lot of people are very hesitant about because of Hollywood, because of the
Mm-hmm.
rap that it gets,
Mm-hmm.
but it's actually a healer's path. And it's really, really beautiful. And the more I read about it, the more I understand of it, the more deeply in love I fall with it. And that goes for any culture, because I've also worked with the Mexican culture and the Japanese culture and the Maltese culture, well, the European culture, the Nordic culture. And I find that all the ones that call to me too are actually a part of me. Like I've actually found it in my DNA and in my
Right.
family.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. That's I would be interested in hearing how your experience was when you go to New Orleans for sure. So, Angel, do you have an offer for the audience that you'd like to highlight?
Yes. So this is going to be good until the end of February, because it is Valentine's Day. If you book a mini reading right now, you get a second mini reading for free.
Wow.
And you can go to raisingenergy.com. I have to actually still set up the link, so I will be doing that by tonight. So once that link is there, please feel free to just use that as your add-on, the second reading, and you can go from there. So a mini reading, and you get a second one for free, because this is the time of love. So why not gift that to somebody for Valentine's Day?
Excellent. Wonderful. That sounds terrific. And I'm sure the audience will love that. And I will include that for sure in the show notes.
Yeah, and
So
you've got a whole month. I mean, February 2023,
you
right?
got it. It's not that far into February, is it? So we're okay. So I guess we'll wrap up. Angel, so tell me what else you would like to offer the audience, or if there was anything that I should have asked you that I didn't, or anything else that you'd like to talk about.
No, Yeah, I have to tell you, I loved your questions. These were
Oh,
really
good.
unique questions that I don't get asked often about the business. And I really, really enjoy that. And I think it's going to be really helpful for everybody to understand that. And also, I think one of the things that I would just quickly like to broach is, if you're doing this work, offer it via Zoom, offer it internet wise, do as much as you can, because a lot of people ask me, is it as accurate? And yeah, you know what? Excuse me, it really is. I have offices downtown in Toronto. I have offices up in Oakville if you guys want to come see me, and in Newmarket. But the reality is we're so global now because of the internet. Utilize, utilize, utilize. Don't be afraid. Don't be one of those people that says, oh, well, you know what? I'm a reader and I'm spiritual, so I can't do this and I can't do that. Yeah, you can. I've had people actually say to me in ceremony, you have to turn off your phone, because if you don't, that goes against divinity. And I'm like, well, you know what? If God wants to talk to me, I'm sure God's going to be able to talk. That's going to make a difference. So for me, if it's out there and you're being called to it, as long as you're not hurting yourself, like I said, or anybody else, work with it, explore it, make it part of who you are if it's comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I'm doing this channel and using this platform, because if people stumble across us and it is inspiring for them and they think to themselves, well, I'd love to do that, or I can do that, then they'll know how to get started.
Can, right?
And we all can. 100%. Yeah. So I'd really like to thank you today for speaking with me, Angel. You've offered so much value to our listeners. I know there are people who are feeling lost and seeking direction and know they're meant for more, who will benefit so much from what you've told us. And again, if you'd like to work with Angel, I'll include her details in the show notes, and feel free to reach out to her and take advantage of her generous offer. And I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in to this episode. If you're interested in learning more about mediumship, I'd love to hear from you. You can reach out to me on my website, www.vickymcgrath.ca, or catch me on Instagram, vicky.mcgrath. Thanks so much and have a great day, everyone. Thanks, Angel.
Thank you. Bye.